Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon. So last episode we went and built up a bit of a cave and effectively replaced our storage system over at the redstone pit with that. And well, since then I've been a little busy. As you can see, we've gotten a few allays over here. These little guys are going to be roaming around here eventually, but for now we have a bunch of them just living in here. It was better than having them follow me around all the time and having to listen to the noises constantly. But today, we are not going to be doing anything with them. They are a later project. Today, as you can see, we've gotten a few things marked out, including a path leading from Puck's house there all the way over to here, which is where I think we're going to put a bit of a town square. Well, a village square, rather. I've got a few things marked out here. We've got a few things for some trees and some mushrooms. We've got another tree over there that's going to be where we're actually going to kind of house all of our allays. I still haven't figured out the design yet, so this is all just in temporary blocks. And as you can see, we've finished flattening everything. It's actually really interesting because while we were busy mining everything out, we found this right here. I was not expecting this, but I guess it gives us another heart of the sea to use somewhere. But working on changing all of this over to Fairy Forest is going to wait because today I think we're going to try and get the town square here in, or rather the village square. And that's just going to be a nice little thing. We'll have a couple buildings here. Well, rather plants once I actually figure out how I want to design those. They're not going to be anything super fancy. I'm going to make it so that you can probably go in. There might be an appearance of a second floor, but I want all of the buildings here to look like they're kind of grown and built out of the plant life here, hence the trees and the mushrooms. But I think first off, we need to get the path designed. That way we can actually get the rest of the terraforming here starting to spread up along here. Because once we have the buildings marked out, it's pretty easy to just avoid those. We kind of have to get the paths figured out so that we're not having to rip out terraforming to put in paths like we have to do for this section. So right now I just have some basic path blocks through here, and of course the orange wool to mark everything out. But I kind of want to do something a little more detailed. So I'm going to go kind of work out a design for that, and then I'll be right back. All right. So after a bit of messing around in creative, I've decided on a design and pattern I want to use. The only problem is it requires packed mud, and this is all the wheat I have over here, and I don't exactly have a easy way of getting more. So what we're going to do is, I know there's a village right over here. We're going to see if that has any wheat. If not, we can always just go back to our main base, which has some wheat. Ooh, there's wheat. That might actually get us a little bit. I believe it's 1-to-1. The mud part itself isn't going to be that much of a problem because we can easily just get a couple glass bottles, fill them up, and convert dirt. And it's not like we're exactly lacking on dirt. Even if you don't include the dirt that we have from digging out the Mushroom Island, we also have a bunch of dirt from digging out the redstone pit. Let's see, that gets us about 40. That should get us at least a start. And that looks to be all the wheat that they actually have at that village. So 41 should get us a little bit of area. So, I'm just going to go back to the main base and gather up all the stuff in that field. There should be a decent amount. And I'll poke around a couple of my chests as well. So I'm going to go gather up some of those materials and get stuff to actually make some mud. And then I'll be right back. All right, so I've successfully managed to gather up everything that we need. Got 3 stacks of everything here. And we have, to mix in with these path blocks here, some brown concrete powder, some muddy mangrove roots, some packed mud, coarse dirt, and rooted dirt. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to use this front area here that we have as an example. I did go and remove all of the wood around here. That is going to be the central area of, well, kind of this little town, I guess. I haven't quite decided what this is really going to be. But just going to focus on this section here. And we're just going to mix in a bunch of these blocks. Gonna kind of scatter these about. Might be easier if we actually just gathered up all these path blocks and mixed in stuff that way. And there you go. You can kind of see what we're kind of going for here with the path. We've got some darker dirt that's kind of got all the roots through it. That's these muddy mangrove roots. I think that works quite well with the mix between the two different roots. I'm hoping they kind of look like tree roots, but I think they turned out kind of interesting. I don't know how I managed to get it going that way. Are these directional? If I'd known they were directional, I would have planned to use that. They are. Well, that's interesting and also good to know. That will definitely help with making this path look a little different because we can just have roots going along it. Oh, that's going to be very helpful. But I'm going to get the rest of this in and hopefully not run out of any of these blocks. The rooted dirt and the packed mud are going to be quite difficult to get, mostly because I don't have a quick farm for the wheat. So getting more of these is going to take a while, and rooted dirt just takes a while to get anyway. So I'm gonna get to work on hopefully getting this center section here done. Maybe a few of these other paths. I don't quite know. I kind of want to get some of this area laid out as this is going to kind of be the central square. But I'm going to get at least the circle and the rest of this part here done, and then I'll be right back. All right, and there we go. We now have the path done up all around the center section. Get a little bit more leading out of the here. Not quite all of it because I kind of ran out of room to store mycelium and such in my inventory. And our storage over here is not very good. But we have a little bit of a path. This one's probably going to narrow a bit as it goes on. But for now, we're just going to keep it as the standard 3 wide. And this is just going to connect up here eventually. But for now, I think I want to focus on the center section here. Now this here we have set aside for kind of a little fountain. So we just basically need to replace this cyan wool here with some stone bricks. Probably should actually get some vines out. We should have plenty because of all the mangrove trees I've grown. Just trying to get some mangrove wood for building around here. And, well, occasionally we'll knock off the vines and we just will have vines. I would use moss, except I don't actually have that much moss. It took quite a while to get this stuff to get all the rooted dirt for this because I just haven't messed with any of the moss stuff yet on here. So we probably are going to need to get some of that because that'll, in the long run, be easier for getting mossy stone than just having a bunch of vines. Now if I can actually find where all those went. Alright, so now that we have a few mossy bricks, that should help quite a bit with this whole section. You also need to tear out the bottom here. So yes, I'm not quite sure how to really do a fountain that really fits in here. I'm using stone now, but I would much prefer to use something a little more natural, just to kind of fit in a bit. I suppose stone does kind of work, but we'll fill this thing with water in a bit. I don't actually have any water buckets over here, and I don't think there's any iron. There might be, but we're just gonna kind of do our usual thing. So we need to start out with a stone brick, and then I'm gonna not put a end rod right on top of that. I think we're gonna put a brick wall on top of that. Use some end rods here as scaffolding because they're very easy to break, even if they are a bit of a pain to jump onto. And then I think we'll put 2 end rods on top. Let's see, let's step back and take a look. It's kind of dull, so maybe we'll put another wall on top of this one. Stick that on there. Yeah, I suppose that works. We just need to swap out the bottom stone brick for the mossy brick that's underneath it, because I think that'll look a little nicer. So let's get that in, and yeah, I think that does look nicer. And can I actually make mossy stone brick walls just like this? Nope. Okay, we'll just leave those like that for now. I think that should work as a center fountain piece. We might swap this out maybe for wood or something. Add some vines along here. just to add the overgrown aesthetic. I think that doesn't look too bad. Now, the only thing left for this area is the houses, which, as you can see, these aren't going to be very big. This one is a mushroom one. If we actually swap this out for stem blocks, that would actually be more accurate. The brown mushroom blocks were just what I had on hand when I was marking this area out. Now, I don't quite know how I want these to go. I do kind of want them to blend in with the rest of the forest a little bit. So we'll probably have other mushrooms, probably a little smaller than this. That way they don't take up quite so much space. Because the thicker we make the base, the taller we have to build the mushroom, just to keep it proportional. It will probably do 2x2 one, something like that, somewhere around here. You can also just make these look like they're houses and not actually have any interiors. I think just for the square here, we want to kind of, or at least the center of the village, rather, we kind of just want to have them actually have an interior, because I think it'll be nice just to be able to walk into these since this is supposed to be the central area. So, to build these, I think what we're going to do, I did get some oak trap doors here so we can put some windows in and do the same trick we did on Puck's house over there and just have those on the outside. I'm kind of thinking that we're going to have this as a single story building, though we might make it 2 stories. I might be tall enough because we do need to shift this back and over a bit just so it has some depth and it's not just a straight stalk of the mushroom, because that wouldn't look very natural. And there we go. We kind of have a very rough shape for one of these. This clearly actually needs to go up another block, it looks like, before we start branching out for the cap. But I think for a start, it's not too bad. Yeah, one more definitely is what it needed, even with the half-finished wall there, because we kind of ran out of mushroom block stems that we have here. We definitely need to go gather more of those. Fortunately, they're a bit of a pain to get, but I think that will do for the mushrooms. In terms of the design of the ones around here, I don't particularly want to have too many of these style ones around. I mostly want to focus on the trees, since this is a fairy forest and not a fairy fungal forest, which currently have these coal blocks here as placeholders while we kind of figure out what's going on around here. Now, these are obviously not going to be perfectly circular, unlike the mushrooms that we kind of did on accident, but we're going to have a bunch of these. I still don't know how tall these ones are going to be, because it's going to depend on how we do all of the rest of the area. But we'll have a couple trees as well. Again, these will kind of blend in. We do want these to be kind of big because this is supposed to be kind of an old growth fairy forest. So we need to have nice, big, thick trees that go up quite a ways. I don't know if I want to make these stumps instead, but I do want this to have a nice big arching canopy that goes through here. And unfortunately, our little 2x2 trees just aren't big enough. Might try a 3x3 somewhere around here, but that's going to require a lot more work to figure out. Now inside of these, I haven't quite decided if I want to have nothing. These tree ones, we could probably definitely have like a little shop. Maybe we'll put a flower shop or something in here, and maybe in here we'll put something. I don't know. Maybe it'll just be a tiny little home. Have a ladder going up to a second floor here. And everything else, maybe these will have the shop on the bottom. We'll have a staircase kind of built into the tree. Kind of like how some of the houses in the Tiger Village have the staircase on the outside going up to the second floor. But I think that is probably going to be another time just figuring that out, because I still don't know what I want to do for these trees and all the foliage around here. So I think that we will have to make do with just the basic plan for the area for now. So I'm gonna go figure out kind of a bit better what we're doing for our foliage, more than just the rough idea that I currently have floating in my head, because I don't want to build these all the way up and then decide that I want to completely change how all of the trees are. because we still have quite a bit of area that needs to be transformed. So I'm in no real rush to figure that out. So I think with the area here just needing to have that figured out, I think that we're probably going to leave this area here still mostly unfinished because, well, we just can't actually finish it until we know what we're building a bit better. So I'm going to go kind of work and figure that out. It may take a while because, again, we still have plenty of island to transform. So I think that for now is where I'm going to leave you all and go figure that out. Maybe I'll work on some small little projects in the meantime. But for now, thank you all so much for watching. I know this one was very much not a lot done. We pretty much just got the paths and a fountain that still has no water because I don't have a water bucket in, and not even all of the paths. But yeah, I still want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more of how this area turns out. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!